Hello everyone, good afternoon and welcome to today's live. So we'll just wait a few minutes for people to join. Wait 3 minutes for people to join us.
You're all welcome.
Yeah.
Outfitter Collection, welcome. Gabi Hayawu, welcome. Oshodi Israel, welcome. Duela Designs, welcome. Ebun Hakiola, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Okay, you're welcome to today's live. Yeah, I think Elizabeth is already calling some names out. Dorella Designers Class, have you called her?
Yes.
You're welcome to the live Palawal 1. You're welcome to our live session. Okay, so my name is Alima Ade, and with me is my colleague
Elizabeth Obiemi.
Okay, so we are here to give you exciting information as a culture in Nexi every Wednesday. We come up here to give you updates on immigration policies, informations about study abroad with different destinations in mind. Okay, we give you all of this information to keep you abreast with your preferred destinations. So for today, the important information we have for you is concerning the study abroad destinations that accepts dependents. So we're here to give you specific updates or information about each of these destinations that accept dependents. Welcome Boli Legal. I'm seeing people writing I'm seeing Hong Kong student visa. Okay, so today our conversation today is about dependents, countries that accept dependents that Nexi Concept Limited work with. So if you have any other question that is not related to this, you can just reach out to our inbox, send us a message, and we will have able counselors, student recruitment advisors that will respond to your message almost immediately. So just reach out, send a DM. But if you have questions that relate to dependents or countries that accept dependents, information about what your dependent needs to do or know, you can just put them on this chat box. We will respond to them at the end of this live session. Okay, so welcome. We're still having people join the session. Welcome.
Team Go.
Yeah, Team Go, I'm seeing you. Welcome to the live session. Okay. I'm trying to wait a bit for others to join. Sorry.
Ileri Adeyemi, you're welcome.
Yes, welcome.
Welcome here.
So I'll just go back again. Today's live session is about families that accept, destinations, countries that accept study with dependents. Okay, so that is what we'll be giving information on today. My name is Alima Ade again. I'm introducing myself, and with me is my colleague
Elizabeth Obiemi.
Okay, so we all know that there are different countries that Nexi Concept Limited work with. We also have different countries that have changed their immigration policies that no longer accept dependents. Most people do not know this, and there are still some few people that know this. So we are here to give a general information for what is expected, what is obtainable, what do's and don'ts for these countries, so that you understand when you're sending an application to us, you understand which of these country fits your preference when you are about to process application form. So the first country, I think we should just list out all the countries, don't you think this game? So can you help us just list out
so the countries we are going to be talking about today, we are going to be talking about the UK, Canada, Germany, USA, Australia, New Zealand, Finland, Austria, and Portugal. So those 10 countries, they accept dependents, and we are going to be giving you more information about them.
Yeah. So just put down your questions in the box. Okay, specific questions you have about any of these countries while we are giving this information out. Just put them down in the box and we'll attend to them. So the first country we'll be addressing today is Canada. So we all know that beginning of this year, January, we had some kind of changes, okay, when it comes to immigration policies about dependents coming into Canada. Okay, the first changes was that I think for undergraduate program, sorry, undergraduate cannot actually go with dependents. For postgraduate diploma program and postgraduate certificate program are no longer allowed to come with dependents. Okay, even if they are to come with dependents, they're only allowed to come for a visit visa. They cannot work. Okay, so the only program at the moment that allows you to come with dependents to Canada is master's program and PhD programs. Okay, so today we are discussing specifically about the master's program. So there are numerous master's programs in Canada that allows you to come with your dependents, and your dependents are being given spousal open work permits. This means that your dependents are allowed to work in Canada. So for students that are going, for people that are going to study, can go with dependents. These dependents includes children, okay, and the dependents, the spouse of the person that is studying can get an open work permit, okay, and the children can also go to school. So that's another benefit of going through Canada, going to study in Canada. So the student is given a 3-year post-study work permit. Student is given a 3-year post-study work permit that allows the student to stay back with his or her family after studies. Now the master's program, you all know that the master's program in Canada is actually numerous. Okay, for the master's program in Canada, the requirements, one of the specific requirements that is needed is that you have either a 2-1 or a 2-2, and this is a BSc. You don't accept HND. You need to have a 3-year bachelor's program or a 4-year bachelor's program to apply for a master's program in Canada. So now there are a lot of schools that accept your 2-1. We would say strong 2-1. We'll also say you have an average 2-1. Yes, they accept that too. Then for 2-2, there are few schools that accept 2-2 for master's program in Canada. So if you reach out to us with your 2-2, for people that have second class lower, if you reach out to us, we have specific schools we are partnered with that we can process application for you. That's right, yeah? Yeah, we can process application for. We have wonderful counselors, student recruitment advisors that would reach out to you with furnished information with that fits your profile. Okay, they're going to reach out to you with schools that would fit your profiles. Okay, another important information is that for master's program in Canada, there are specific requirements they look out for. They're talking about recommendation letter. Now the recommendation letter can be it can be in 2 ways. One could be that the school would ask you to provide recommendation letter from your school. Specifically, they'll ask you to provide all the recommendation letter from your schools. While the school will tell you can be very flexible, they can ask you to provide 3 recommendation letter or 2 recommendation letter, 1 from your school and 1 from professional and 1 professional, or they could ask you to just be flexible. You can provide 2 professional or 2 academic. That depends on you. So there are schools that give you that options, and there are schools that do not give you this option. So we know these schools, and then before putting this application for you, we will tell you before, and do you have this available? These are the requirements. Can you provide this before we put in the application for you? There are also some schools that require credential evaluation. So if you do not have that, we'll just channel your application to another schools. So I still bank on, if you have any application, just reach out to us and we will process the application for you. Okay, so another important information is the SOPs. We would guide you to, we'll give you samples, and then you write an SOPs that fits the program you're going for and your academic background. Okay, so another part is your CVs, those ones that are popular requirements, your CVs, your international passports, right?
Yes.
And other information will also be communicated to you. Now, for people that are going to study in Canada, we all know that the immigration policy changes also increases the living expenses for applicants. So from 10,000 Canadian dollars, it was now increased to 20,636 Canadian dollars. This is for the applicants alone. This is for the applicants alone. Now, people that, if you're not going with dependents, you know that will increase. Now, the increment for 1 dependent is 5,055 Canadian dollars. Now, the thing about Canada is, the more the dependents, the more the living expenses increase. For instance, for 1 dependent, you're getting 5,055 Canadian dollars. If you're not going with 2 dependents, this could be the spouse and 1 child. You're not going with 5,892 Canadian dollars. If you're going with 3, that increases to 6,763 Canadian dollars. The number goes up like that according to the number of the dependents you're going with. So once we have a conversation with you, we'll let you calculate the exact amount you need for your dependents. Okay, and the tuition fee for this master's program ranges from 17,000. Please note that the 17,000 program is mainly for business related courses. Okay, down to 35,000 Canadian dollars. So that's the range of master's programs that are available for students that are interested in studying in Canada. Now, for most of the schools in Canada, you're required to provide a 50% initial deposit, right? That's what majority of the schools will ask you for, 50%. Especially for now, you're even required to provide 50% of the initial deposit for your master's program. The intake that are available is generally for Canada. We have January, we have May, June, July. Those can, depending on the school. We also have September. As at now that we are having this live webinar with you, or live session with you, the intake that is open is September. Now for September, people that can apply for September are people that have the funds ready for their living, for their POF. Okay, so like we are putting an application for you today, you're running your proof of funds today too, so that to give you enough time for you to apply for your visa. Okay, but for people that are looking at January, that's still fine. You can put in the application for it. Don't say because it's January. I think some people will be like,
January is still far.
January is too far. Let me just. You have to start now. This is the time for you to start putting your application. The intake for September is even closing. People are now going for January. So the same thing is for you to put in your application on time so that you get a better offer. Okay. So for those that are interested in Canada, if you have any questions or concern, you can put it out here. If you want to speak to a counselor, you reach out, send a message through our inbox. For those that are interested, please have your money ready, have your proof of fund ready for the September intake, and you'll be in Canada by September. Sorry. Okay. For those that are interested in January, still reach out to us. We'll put in the application for you. There's still May, there's still September. Reach out to us. Any intake you're interested in, even if you're not ready for it now, we can still let you know information that can keep you abreast while you're preparing to process your application by then. Okay, so the next intake is for UK, and Elizabeth will take that for us.
Okay, so thank you, Alima. So another country we'll be talking about is the UK. Yes, we are all aware that the UK already stopped accepting dependents. They started that early this year, so dependents can no more go with students. However, we have courses in UK that accept dependents, which is the Master by Research and the PhD courses. Those two courses, those two level accept dependents for the UK. So anyone with a 2-1, a 2-2 can go for Master by Research in the UK. So I'll be talking about the requirement for Masters by Research in the UK, because the requirement is quite different from the Thought Masters, the one we all know. It is quite different. So what do you need to do to get a Master by Research in the UK? The first thing is for you to decide on a research topic. There would always be a topic you want to work with, and there is always a lecturer or more than one lecturer sometimes that are working on that research. So once you get your research topic, a topic you are interested in, and you've sent a message, you've chosen your interest. This is what I'm interested in. The next thing you do is to send an email to the supervisor you want to work with, just for you to show your interest to the supervisor. So after sending the email to the supervisor, you wait for the supervisor to respond. So in your email, you let him know these are the things I'm interested in. These are the research I've been working on in the past. You talk about everything so that the supervisor will be like, oh, this person, I think I want to have this person join me for this research. So after that, the supervisor would respond. It is either the supervisor respond that, oh, for now my lab is full or anything, or please send me a research proposal. I'm interested in working with you as well. While some supervisor might not even tell you to send a research proposal, they can tell you to go ahead and submit the application. So in a case whereby, in a situation whereby the supervisor is telling you to submit a research proposal, that means you have to go and write a research proposal, then submit the research proposal. It is after then you would now receive a mail from them saying you can go ahead after they've gone through the research proposal and it is what they would like to venture into. then they would give you a go ahead to submit the application. So that is how it works for the UK. Another thing for the UK is this Master by Research program is majorly for the science students. It has a lot of science related courses, but we have a few courses for the arts and the management courses, but they are not as many as the science related courses. So but if you still have arts and you have a background in arts or management course, you can still reach out to us. We will still help you with it. So for the proposal and for the email for how to go about it, you can always reach out to us. We have our expert counselors and student recruitment advisors that would help you and guide you properly on how to go about it. So another thing about the master, about dependents in the UK, majority of you might be aware because of the third masters, is about the living expenses. So the living expenses for students going to schools inside London in the UK is £7,605, while the living expenses for students going to schools outside London is £6,120. That is for the UK, while for the students living expenses is £9,207 for outside London, and for inside London £12,006. That is it for the UK. So I would also like to talk about the tuition fee. So majority of you might be thinking that means the tuition fee will be higher because it is masters by research course. It is not like that. It is not like that. So the tuition ranges from £13,000 to as high as £25,000. Some schools might be higher than that, but that is just the range, their average tuition fee for the master by research course. And also the initial deposit, you can get as low as £4,000 initial deposit for a masters by research course, and then as high as 50% of your tuition for a masters by research course. So another thing I would like to tell you about the master by research courses, we have a school we are partnered with, though it is majorly for science students. This is for students that are focusing on life sciences and health sciences. This particular school would not require you to write a letter to any supervisor, a mail to any supervisor. Neither do they require you to write a proposal. The only thing you just need is you need a very strong SOP to show your interest in their master by research course. And once your SOP is very strong and you have a 2-1, and also 2-2 is accepted on case-by-case basis, not every time, but with a 2-2 we can also give it a try. Once we submit the SOP and submit the application, you are good to go and you can go with your dependents. So I have to add that so that you can know it is not all schools, we still have an exception. So that is it for the UK. So the intake for the UK, we have January, May and September intake for the UK. So if you would like to, if you from what I've said, you can see that you met the requirements, you can just reach out to us. We are going to help you and guide you properly on that. So we are going to move to the next country now.
Thank you, Elizabeth. So that was an exciting one about the UK. Actually, I know some people will be like, I cannot write the proposal, I cannot write a letter to the supervisor, but there is a sample you can follow.
Yes.
Another thing again is something you've been taught. So you just need to formulate, go through the research, the research is available, and then see which one fits your profile, and then we'll guide you through, and then to be easy peasy.
We are not going to leave you alone.
Yeah,
we don't leave our students alone. We guide them until they get their visa.
Okay. So we'll be talking about another country, another interesting country that I know most of us still know. Some of us are still eyeing that country. That's the USA. Okay. So we all still, the USA accept, most of us might have forgotten, but the USA still accept dependents. However, the peculiarity about the USA is that they don't accept, the dependents do not work. Okay, so if I'm a student and I'm going with a dependent, my dependent will not be allowed to work. While me, I'm allowed to work only for 20 hours per week. Okay, so for the USA, the student is asked to provide a 6-month bank statement. The 6-month bank statement, firstly, 3 months before. Some of the schools will ask you for 3 months before you get your I-20. Then the other 3 months for your visa stage, or you can just provide the entire 6 months during the visa stage. Okay, now we all know that for the US visa application, you're required to provide, you're going to do a physical interview. And this physical interview cuts across everyone that is going with the principal applicant. So the wife, the children are all going to be present during the physical interview. So they might be asked a question or two. For people that cannot still speak, they might just still leave them, but they are required to be present during the day of the physical interview. And for the dependents, are going to be getting an F2 visa for those that are interested in going to the USA. The tuition fee range for USA is from $10,000 US down to $35,000 US. Now for you, the initial deposits, there are some people that would ask you to pay $200 US, there's people that ask you to pay $500 US, there's some people that still will not ask you to pay anything. Okay, but we'll still, it depends. Once you reach out to us, we'll let you know the procedure of how this application go in line with each schools you are interested in. Now the intake for schools in USA is January and September. January and September intake is open for people that are interested in September intake. January is already passed. September intake is open. The application is still being processed. Reach out and then we will process that for you. Okay, so the next application or the next country would be Germany.
Okay, so yeah, I'll be talking about Germany. So Germany is also another destination that accepts dependents. So, but what is the peculiarity about Germany? Aside from the fact that the student has to write IELTS for Germany, for the dependent also needs to write an exam, and that is German proficiency exam. Okay. But please don't need to fear. It's the beginner level. Yeah. So they call this exam a GOEF A1 exam. So why are they calling it A1? Their A1 is just it signifies the beginner level. So it's not something that will be big, that will be a big deal for you. And also another thing I would like to add is there is training. We have training centers in Nigeria where you can get this GOET A1 tutorial. And after you are done with the tutorial, you can now go ahead to book for the exam so that you can have a better score for the exam. And the training costs 150,000 naira, and the exam itself costs 85,000 naira. Yeah. Okay, so that is it for Germany. The dependent needs to write that exam, because without the exam, the dependent will not be able to follow the students to Germany. Another thing about Germany is we are all aware of the block accounts that requires you to put 11,208 euros in your account. But this block account also applies to the dependent. Yeah. The dependent needs a separate block account for Germany. So it is not only the applicant that would have this money, or you guys will put the money inside your account together. No, you need separate account for this. But that does not mean you guys are not going together. You are still going together, but you need a separate account. You have your own 11,208 euros. Your dependent would have the same also. Yeah. And the course duration for masters in Germany is 1 to 2 years. And there is 18 months stay back. You can stay back for 18 months. You have access to 2 years permanent residence, and after 5 years. So we have the tuition for Germany is quite favorable. Yeah, I would say it is, because it ranges from 7,000 to around 10,000 euro. So if you are looking for countries that are more affordable, we are back. Okay, so the only thing you should just take note about Germany is IELTS is mandatory for the applicants. For the dependents, GOET A1 exam is mandatory. You need to take that exam. And also you need a block account, separate block account for both the dependents and the applicants. So that is it for Germany. Once you can meet all those requirements, you are good to go. You travel with your dependents.
Oh, you'll be in Germany, like easy peasy. Okay, so the next destination is New Zealand. So we've discussed about the UK, we've discussed about Canada, we've discussed about Germany and USA, right?
Yes.
So from all of them, you see that every of these countries have their own different information. Okay, so there's some people that will be like, Canada doesn't favor me. I need to go to the UK. I think I can write this proposal. I think I can still go to the school that does not require a proposal. Yeah, yeah. There are some people that will be like, for USA, yeah, I don't mind my spouse not working. I think I have the money to cater for us, to help us stay there until I am done with my studies. So depending on which one favors you, we would put in the application for you. So the next one is New Zealand. So New Zealand accepts dependents also. For New Zealand destination, dependents children are allowed to study at the primary or secondary school that are available in New Zealand. And New Zealand waive most of the schools, most of the IELTS program or qualification, IELTS exam, is waived for people that are applying to New Zealand. So there are some people that still compulsory IELTS. No, that's not true. We have schools we are partnered with that you can process application for that do not require IELTS. They've waived that for Nigerian students.
So I will start from Australia.
Yeah, I think it's first.
Okay. So like I was saying earlier, Australia is another destination that accepts dependents. And if you are going to Australia for your study, the first thing that should come to your mind is you have to write IELTS. Yeah. IELTS is mandatory for Australia. Okay, so if you have some schools that waives IELTS, however, for visa processing, IELTS is mandatory for Australia. Also, another thing you have to take note of is Australia is their tuition. Their tuition ranges from 20,000 to as high as 45,000 Australian dollar, and the deposit is around 50 to 60% of that tuition for Australia. Also, for dependents in Australia, what do they need from you? Dependents in Australia, you don't need to write exam just like Germany. No, you are not doing that like Germany. What you just need is we need the money needed for you. The money you are going to spend, your living expenses must be inside your applicants, or maybe you are the one sponsoring. It must be in one account. It's not separate account like Germany. It can be in one account, anyhow you guys want it. And the living expenses for the applicants in Australia is 7,000 Australian dollar. For dependents, for the first dependent, like for the spouse, is 4,000 Australian dollar. And for the child, one child is 3,000 Australian dollar. So that is how it works for Australia. So if you are going with more than one child, if you are going with 2 children, that means you have to 3,000 times 2, that is 6,000 Australian dollar. Then you put that in your bank statement for Australia. The take back period for Australia is around 3 to 5 years, depending on the school you are applying to. Also for Australia, I mentioned the tuition fee the other time. You just have to be Australia is financially conscious. Like you need to have money.
I think the same thing with Canada too. So
same thing applies to Canada.
You need to be financially buoyant.
So it's not like Germany that we have 7,000 euro. No, but that does not mean you can't go there. You can go there with your dependents. So those are just the things you have to take note of to go to Australia. They have January intake, they have September intake as well. So move to another country.
So the next country I'll be speaking about is Austria. Austria is part of the countries in Europe, okay, and then they also accept dependents. Okay, so it could be so for some people they'll be like, I've never heard of Austria, but some they've heard of Austria. Yes, so Austria is a good destination that we are processing applications for at the moment that accept dependents. So there are specific information you need to note about Austria. For Austria, they require you provide legalization and authentication of your documents. And these documents include your WAEC results, your BSc or your first degree. If you have other additional certification, like you have a master's program you want to add, you have like a second degree program, you want to add that, yes, you will still need to do a legalization and a verification for that certificate. So far it's going to be captured during the application process. Okay, so the legalization and notification process is done in Abuja. Okay, and for further information on that would be given to you once you reach out to us. Now for Australia, why am I saying Australia? Sorry, for Austria, I think the names are just like Austria, Australia. So please stick to Austria. So for Austria, the tuition fee range for the application is between say 10,000 euro to 18,000 euro. Between 10,000 to 18,000 euro. There could be lesser program, but we're just giving you this range so that you have it at the back of your mind, the financial implication of what you're getting into. The initial deposit for this for Austria is 50% of your tuition fee. So you need to have 50% of the 10,000 to 18,000 program you're about to enroll for that would accept a dependent. Okay, so for Austria, IELTS is not really compulsory. If you have, fine. If you don't have, it's still fine. You would be asked to provide an MOI. MOI is a medium of instruction which you can just get from your school. They should need to just write you a letter stating that this program was taught in English, or your course that you have, the degree you have, was taught to you in English, and that suffices for an English test for Austria. Now for Austria, once you're done with your studies, you get a 1-year post-study work permit. For you and your spouse, get a 1-year post-study work permit. Okay, now the 10,000, I mentioned the tuition fee earlier. The 10,000 to 18,000 euro depends on the program you're about to study. There's some programs that are far more expensive than this. There are some that are, but we've noticed that this 10,000 to 18,000 euro we gave to you is from our experience of what most people reach out to us for. So majority of the program they reach out to us for fall within this range. That's why we're giving you a range of this to this. Okay, so the initial deposit, like I mentioned, is 50 to 60% of your tuition fee is what is required once you've gotten an offer. The intake that are available is January and September intake. January, September intake. We know January intake is already passed for September for 2024 still, but September intake is still ongoing. So if you're reaching out to us for your application for September, yes, it is still available. Yes, it is open for you to go with your dependent for this year. Okay, so we'll move to the next country, which is Finland, and Elizabeth will do us the honor.
Okay, so I'll be talking about Finland. Finland is another destination that accepts your dependent. So just like the countries that requires IELTS, Finland also requires IELTS. So IELTS is mandatory for Finland. And also another thing about Finland is, unlike other countries whereby their application is always open, most of the times, for example for UK now, it is when it is closer to around August, that is when majority of the schools start telling you the deadline is August something. It is not like that for Finland. They have just 2 application window for the year, and the major application window for Finland is in September. So for now, application is not ongoing for Finland till September. Application is not ongoing. So if you are going to be applying by September, that means you are going for next year intakes in next year. So we have application window for January, we have in September, but September window is for the major application, because we have vocational courses too, and that vocational courses is for January. And another application window, sometimes they open it in March for vocational courses also, but for study it is September. So please put that in mind. So if you are planning on going to Finland, you should start preparing now.
Yes, now.
Start getting all your documents, whatever you need to do, just start getting it now. So once the application window opens, you submit your application. You don't need to waste time. So that is it for Finland. You have to get ready before that time. Do you understand? So another thing about Finland is living expenses is 10,800 euro for Finland. Living expenses for a year. Also, after your study, you have a 2-year postgraduate work permit in Finland, and the tuition fee for Finland is also favorable. It ranges from 10,000 to 15,000 euro, so it's quite favorable. And they have intake, they have September intake open for Finland. So if you are, I know majority of you will say, oh, Finland is a good place apart from the IELTS, and I don't think IELTS is something hard to do, as long as you can go for the training. Just immediately after the training, like that's what I tell students that comes to me. Immediately after the training, it is still fresh in your head. Just register for the exam, because there is always dates for IELTS. So you register for the exam immediately after your training, and you come out with a good grade. So that is it for Finland.
Okay, so we've gotten a lot of information about all of these countries, specific information about these countries. So we are almost getting to the end of it, and we just have 2 more. We've spoken about 8. I know in your mind you're thinking, I want to hear these last 2 so that I'll know which one I want to go for. So we have the last 2 for, I'll be talking on Portugal now. So Portugal is another destination in Europe that accepts dependents. Okay, Portugal accepts dependents, and they have peculiarities too. apart from the general application process, apart from the general application of the documents required, which is, we all know, our CVs, SOPs, certificate transcripts, and recommendation letters, yeah,
Yes.
and other documents. They also require you provide legalization and verification or authentication of your documents. You need to provide that proof for your application process. It could come in during the application process or and also during the visa processing. Okay, so this document is required for these two stages when processing application to Portugal. Sorry. So for Portugal, you see that Portugal and Austria have some kind of similarities when it comes to legalization. Okay, so the living expenses for Portugal is, so let me start with the tuition fee. The tuition fee for Portugal is a bit fair too.
Yes.
I think most of the Europe countries that we work with have fairer tuition fee. Okay, the tuition fee is between 5,000 to 13,000 euro. 5,000 to 13,000 euro, depending on the program you're going for. Okay, 5,000, 13,000 euro, and this allows you to go with your dependents. Now, the living expenses for Portugal is 9,480 euro. 9,480 euro is what is required for your living expenses if you're planning to go to Portugal. Then the initial deposit for after getting your offer letter is 60% of the tuition fee. 60% of the tuition fee is required. Some school might, I think few school, could be one or two school would ask you for 50%, but majority of them ask you for 60% of your tuition fee. Available intake is still January and September intake. Open now is September intake. January intake is past. Once you're done with your studies, you're getting a 2-year post-study work permit. A 2-year post-study work permit for you and your dependents after you're done studying in Portugal. So we just get to the final bit of it, which is Spain, before we start attending to all your questions. I'm seeing lots of questions already. Yeah, we are seeing them. It's not like but we'll attend to them immediately after Elizabeth has given a final talk on Spain.
Okay, so the last one on our list today is Spain. Spain accepts dependents. However, it is unlike the ones we've mentioned before. You can only join your dependent after. You can only join your students. Sorry, you can only join your students after your maybe your spouse. You can only join them after 6 months. After they've spent 6 months in Spain, then you can join them. So to me, it's still okay.
Yeah, 6 months.
Yes,
it's not
okay.
too long.
You can join them. So what is the requirement for Spain? Spain does not require IELTS. They only accept. They just tell you to bring your MOI, which is the mode of instruction. Some school call it English proficiency letter. Anyone your school calls it, that is what you need for Spain. You don't need to write IELTS. For people that are scared of IELTS, you don't need to write IELTS. Also, the programs are for 12 months. That's just a year program for masters in Spain, and you have 1 year stay back. That is 1 year postgraduate work permit for Spain. The living expenses in Spain is 12,000 euro, and the tuition ranges from around 10,000 to 16,000 euro. That is for Spain. So it is quite affordable also, just like other European countries we've been mentioning. And they have the January, April and October intake for Spain. So please take note. You are not going to, as a dependent, you are not going to follow the applicants immediately.
Yeah.
You know, all the countries we've been mentioning, you follow them immediately, right? But for Spain, it is after 6 months. The dependents are, the student has spent 6 months over there. Then you can now join the student. And left to me, it's not bad because the person will get to know the place more than you, then you join them later. So it's still okay.
There'll be some groundbreaking, yeah?
Exactly.
Yes.
So it's still fine. So if you would like to go to Spain, it's also an option for you and your dependent. So we are saying that last because there's an exception.
Yeah, it's
for
kind
Spain.
of a bit different.
Yeah. So that's it.
Thank you. So you've noticed from all of the destinations we've spoken about today, you notice the peculiarities we spoke about from the onset. There are some that require you get a supervisor first, then go for a master's in research program. There are some that require your dependent join in 6 months time, like Elizabeth has said. Some that require your dependent to be there but they cannot work. There are some that your dependents can work but it's only for a master's program. So you see all those peculiarities.
So your dependent needs to write exams.
Yes,
Germany.
Germany, yes.
Okay.
There are some that you even need to do legalization and authentication of certificates. So all of those informations are what we wanted to give to you today, so that you would know which one works best for you, which one fits your preference, so that we can process the application for you once you are ready. Okay, so we'll be taking the questions now. Yes, I think we had some questions in the other session,
what I noticed from the last session before the network misbehaved, someone was asking about France. The person kept on saying, please talk about France. Okay.
I think I've seen
it.
I've seen it, yeah. I was asking about France. Okay. You can just answer that. I think the person can.
Okay, so for France, you can't go with the students, you can't go with the applicant until after the student is done and he has gotten a full-time job. You know, as a student, you don't work full-time, you work 20 hours per week. So once the student is done and now has a full-time job, as a dependent, you are now eligible to join the students. That is for France, okay?
So those that are interested in France can just stay 1 year after the program, then we'll proceed. So Ife Oluwa is asking, can we still enter
for September and take in UK? Yes, please. Application is still ongoing for
still
UK.
Open.
For all schools, no school is closed for now. Application is still open, please.
Yeah. So for Damilola Victoria is the person that was asking. I think she was the one asking
about France. Okay.
So I think we've answered that. For France, you can't go with your dependents. It's only when you get a full-time job. Can you brief them again? Olani Yifemi said, I missed the Germany info.
Okay,
Can you give a brief on that?
Alright, Olani, I'm going to give you a brief about Germany. So the first thing we mentioned about Germany is, as a dependent going with an applicant for Germany, you need to write an exam, a German proficiency exam, which is called the GOEF A1 exam. So I explained saying that A1 does not mean maybe the proficiency level, like the II level. No, it's just the beginner level. So A1 means the beginner level, German beginner level. And also we have training centers in Nigeria where you can register for this tutorial, for this German language tutorial, and the cost is 150,000 naira. Also the exam itself costs 85,000 naira. Once you have met the requirement for the GOET A1 exam, you are good to go with your dependents. So that is it for Germany. But then we also mentioned some other things regarding this country. The tuition fee ranges from 7,000 to 10,000 euros for Germany, and deposit ranges from 2,000 to 5,000 euros for Germany. Another thing we mentioned for Germany was that your dependents and yourself, you guys need a separate account. 11,208 euro is needed. Like, that's the living expenses that is needed in a block account of 11,208 euro is needed. But it is not needed for only the applicants. The dependents also need 11,208 euro bank statements, just like you. So you are not attaching your money together. You need a separate block account for Germany. And also the course, the master postgraduate courses in Germany last for 1 to 2 years, and you are going to get 18 months stay back, that is 18 months postgraduate work permit, and you have access to 3 years PR, and after 5 years you are good to apply for citizenship in Germany. Also for the visa, you have a physical visa interview for Germany, and IELTS is mandatory for the students for Germany. So those are the information I gave about Germany. I don't know. That's the field one.
Yeah, if I know
so that's the person that asked the question.
Okay.
So if you have any question, just please put it in the chat section.
Okay, so Felix is saying, I would like to ask some question. Okay, a couple are asking if they can travel together immediately. Yes, they are going to travel, but which destination? We've listed like 10 countries. So let us know which country this couple is looking at traveling to. Then we'll give a response to that. Then okay, Damilola Victoria.
Okay, I put my application already by next day. I would like to know when they will get back to me.
Okay, so yes, we will get back to you on this. You put in your application,
and it's also dependent on when you submitted the application.
I would like to ask a question on France. I put in my application already by next day. I would like to know when They will get back to me. Of course, we will get back to you. I guess you
No,
have
I
already
guess she's
assigned
talking
to.
about the school. Maybe when the school will get back to her.
Oh, really?
I guess. I'm not so sure.
Yeah, so I know you're already assigned to a student recruitment advisor, yeah? So you reach out to your student recruitment advisor regarding this question, and then she will respond to you.
Yes, can I get a brief on US graduate study?
Okay, so for US graduate study, so this question you're asking, is it for the dependent or general graduate study? If that is the case, I can just go with the graduate study you're asking for. So for US, I made mention of the fact that they can go with their dependent, but the dependents cannot work. However, for the program you're going for a master's program. We all know that it's masters that can go with dependent, not for undergraduate. Then for master's program, you're going for depending on the course you're going for, the tuition fee range is between 10,000 to, I think, 10,000 down to 35,000 US dollars for USA. Now the initial deposit depends. For USA, they don't really ask for initial deposit. The initial deposit varies between 200 US dollars to even 500 US dollars. There's some schools that will ask you not to make payments.
Some schools will not even ask for it. Just pay your service fee.
Yes, and that's it. So there are different schools with different requirements, different procedures, okay, for the US. Now another thing about the US is the living expenses. So for US living expenses, we're looking at 10,000 to it depends on the school actually. It varies depending on the school. So once you get your offer letter, depending on the region you are in, the school or the offer letter will state the living expenses you're expected to pay. Now we've seen living expenses for 8,000, we've seen for 10,000, we've seen for 12,000. So we can't give you a specific, and only give you a range. So once you've gotten your offer, the range will be there, or the specific one that applies to the particular school you're going for, or the region you're going for, will be stated exactly on the offer letter. Like I also mentioned that the intake is for September and January, September. I think there is also July. There's some few schools for middle of the year. Just few schools. But mainly they have the January and the September intake. I don't know if I've answered your question. If you have further questions, you can still put them on the chat.
Okay.
If there's any I've missed. So somebody is saying Italy.
Any information about it?
Are you for dependents or for application process? If you're asking general about application process, yes, we process school to Italy. But we'll have to send an inbox, you have to send a message for that. Because today, our conversation is about countries that accept dependents. So, TY67, please send a message via the DM, and then you'll be assigned to someone that will respond to you concerning the Italy schools.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
You've answered that in our last question. Please tell me the available countries.
So, I think...
Okay, so let me tell you the countries. Okay. We have the UK, Canada, Australia, Germany, USA, New Zealand, Finland, Austria, Portugal, and Spain. So those are the countries.
So we're not saying those are all the countries, but we are saying that the countries
we are
we
work
with for now, that we process application for now, that accept dependents, is what we've listed out today, and what we are letting you know that you can send in application for, you can process application for you. Okay. I think, how can I make appointments in Lagos?
For which country?
For which the question is kind of
Freshly.
generic. Yeah, Freshly, Zizi. How can I make appointments in Lagos? So if we need to first know which country are you going for to now ascertain how to answer this question. But you can still send a message. You want to try?
I saw another question.
Okay, so you can still send a message and then we'll respond to you. Please send a DM so that we can understand your question properly, or you can clarify here on the chat box and we will respond.
Which of the countries are available now for the couples to move from Nigeria?
We've listed 10 countries.
No, I think we didn't see the message.
Okay.
So you have to send it again.
Oh, okay. So yes.
Please, Felix, let's know if you've already gotten these countries we listed, please. Right.
Yeah, I think that's all. So if you have further questions, I think we are already far over time. This is already 12. This is already 1 o'clock.
Please mention the countries slowly
are we too
again
fast?
for couple, so I can discuss with them. All right. Okay. So we have the UK, United Kingdom. That is the first one.
Okay.
The second one is Canada. The third one is USA. The fourth one is Germany. Fifth one is Australia. The sixth one is New Zealand. The seventh, Finland. Eighth, Austria. Ninth, Portugal. And the last on our list is Spain. So for Spain, let me say this: the couple would not go with the dependents will not go with the applicants immediately until after 6 months. Do you understand? So the first 9 countries I mentioned, they can go together.
Yes.
However, they all have their own requirements. So because you joined us late, I will tell you to please watch our recap later on so that you can get the requirements also.
Yes, so this will be posted, and then you would go through all the information we've said, and then we would. Okay, I'm seeing. Okay, this is a message. Yeah, sorry. So the replay of this session will be played, and you will get the information from the beginning for those that could not join from the onset. However, we are bringing this live to a close, and we are grateful for all of you that joined this live session. Remember that every Wednesday by 12 noon, Nexi Concept Limited hosts their webinar, their live session. Okay, so reach out. Always have it on your calendar. I think your calendar.
Yes, you can put it on your Google calendar.
Have an alarm to ring that. Hey, next day is live. Don't you need this information? Come online. Okay, so just have that at your spare time. Just set an alarm for 12 noon every Wednesday. You will always see us here, coming to give you information, coming to give you all the immigration changes that's happened, updates on application. It's happening. Like this year, we are seeing a whole lot, and you need to be abreast. There's a country that you might be eyeing and they've changed, and you don't know. We are here to give you those information. Okay, we have different department comes up here to give you information about your application. Okay. Thank you, Sophie. Thank you so much for coming to this session. So we'll take it to a close, and we wish you.
Can I have a number to contact? Yes, please. A number you can contact. You can just send a message via DM.
Yes.
Felix wants to contact someone.
Okay, Felix, just send a message via the DM. Just send a message via the DM, and we will reach out to you. We'll reach out to you almost immediately.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you all
Bye.
for joining. Bye. See you next week,
Yes.
Wednesday.
Same time, same station.